Hey guys, welcome back to another one. My name's Braden and I'm an artist. All right, how to easily draw hair. When it comes to drawing hair, there's lots of different ways that you can do it, but I'm going to show you how to begin to think about your hair when you're sketching it. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to identify the basic shape of the subject's hair, and then I like to go in and identify what I call the different segments of hair, right? So like when you think about hair, like this, if it was laying naturally, it would be considered a segment. Then these are segments, and then together they create a flow, whatever that looks like. So in this one, I'm going to take you through and I'm going to show you 3 different reference photos. The first being the profile angle. And when it comes to specific individuals, not only will the segments of hair be different, but texture will be different as well. And so segments will mimic whatever the texture is, but I'm going to show you how you can go in and start to bring those out. We're going to also be doing it for a straight on angle. And the straight on angle is unique in this video because the subject is wearing a hat. And so I'll show you how you can navigate that. And then the 3/4 turn angle has very long hair. And so I will show you how you can identify the different segments that compose the greater body of hair in that specific reference photo. That's pretty much it. It's short, it's sweet, it's simple, just like me. So, but yeah, if that sounds like something good, make sure you like, subscribe, and then turn on all of your notifications so that you never miss when my latest and greatest videos hit the channel here at Mr. Creations. All right, let's draw. Okay, so when it comes to drawing the hair, there's no reference for this one, but the short of it is that you want to start by drawing in the basic 2-dimensional shape of the hair. Now, this 2-dimensional shape, by definition, is going to be the outer edge of the subject's hair. Now, I have mentioned before that when it comes to drawing the hair, every subject is going to be slightly different, but regardless of texture and regardless of reference, there is always going to be what I call segments of hair. Now, these segments of hair are what you as the artist can use in order to identify the underlying flow of the hair. Now, much like I've talked about when it comes to the underlying form of a subject's muscle structure and facial structure, it is very much the same type of principle, only it is applied to the hair. Okay? Yeah, something just like this. We're just going to tie this all together. And now what we have is the basic 2-dimensional outer shape of the hair as it would sit on your Loomis head, or, as it would sit if you are drawing freehand. Okay. So what we're doing now is we are going in and we are drawing the different segments. We want to bring these out, because once we have identified exactly where these different segments of hair sit, we then can see how the hair flows for the subject in question. Now, when it comes to this step, it is important to understand that you don't want to go over the top with it. Not at all. Actually, less is more, right? Less is more. And you want to make sure that you have drawn in and identified the different segments just enough so that you can see
the direction that that hair flows for whatever reference it is that you are drawing. In this case, this is what this one looks like given this specific reference. Now, there will be times, as we're moving on to this next reference, where the majority of the subject's hair is actually covered by a hat of sorts or some kind of headdress, right? So the principle remains the same. Just because the texture of the hair changes, that does not mean that your basic approach should change, right? So what we're doing is we are identifying the outer edge of our subject's hair, right? So we identify the basic two-dimensional outer edge of the hair. And then once that outer edge is established, we can then use that as the basic framework for drawing in the rest of the hair. Now, when it comes to this specific reference photo, there's not a lot when it comes to being able to identify the different segments of hair. As I've mentioned, segments can also refer to different clumps of hair. In simple terms, all we're really trying to identify within our drawing is the simple flow of the hair, okay? But just pay attention to exactly where I am bringing out these different flows of hair. Because that is really what will separate a good drawing from a bad drawing, is being able to understand, okay, cool, this is where this hair flows, and this is how I want to draw it, so that I can set myself up for success when the time comes for hatching and blending and bringing out those different gradations across the drawing itself. Okay. And if you need to make an adjustment, by all means, absolutely. Make those adjustments. Identify exactly how you want that hair flow to be, and then act accordingly. Just like this. Because even though the reference photo itself is fairly complex, that doesn't necessarily mean that your drawing has to be complex. Now, this drawing is a little different in that the hair itself is straighter, and it is the longest. But the principle of what it is that we are trying to accomplish remains the same. And that is that we want to identify the outer edge. The reason why I'm drawing it this way is that I want to show you that the approach itself doesn't have to be rigid. If you don't want to identify the outer shape of the hair first, you don't have to. You can jump right in if you are happy with your proportions, and you can start to bring out those different segments of hair within the basic shape itself. Because at its most basic, whenever you are drawing the hair, that is going to be very much one of the first steps that you make when it comes to drawing your portrait, because you want to use the hair as an anchor point for identifying other features. I say all the time how you want to identify the ear of the subject first, and then you can use the ear as an anchor point for the rest of your drawing so that you can make sure that it is very much in proportion with itself, because proportion is everything. All right. So that's it. That's all. Stay happy, stay healthy, and remember, never stop drawing.